Buy or Sell is presented by the Robertson and Cox Real Estate Team. Looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? We've got your back. Centrally located in Radford, Virginia, the RNC team is proudly and professionally serving the New River Valley, Roanoke, and Southwest Virginia. With over 35 combined years of experience, we have all the knowledge needed to help you reach your real estate goals. Contact us today for all of your real estate needs. Visit rncteam.com to learn more.
Hello, Virginia Tech fans, and welcome to Buy or Sell Miami Week Edition, what our usual host, Giovanni Heater, calls everyone's favorite show. I'm David Cunningham, Tech Sideline's managing editor, filling in for Giovanni Heater, who is on the road to Miami. To my right, Chris Coleman, lead analyst and columnist. Across the way, Andy Bitter, senior staff writer. Will Stewart, Tech Sideline's founder and general manager, is in the fourth chair. Let's talk about buy or sell results from Rutgers. Chris, congratulations, 4-1 last week. I was 3-1. Gio was 3-1. Nick, Will, and the fans were all 2-2. And Andy, what happened, man?
I don't know, but I was ahead of all you guys last week. So where have you been all season before this?
To go through the buy or sell props from last week, Tech takes a 9-point lead at any time throughout the game. Andy was the only one who bought it, and it did not happen. So everyone was +1 there. Kyron Drones was sacked 2+ times. Chris and Gio were the only ones who sold it, and they were correct.
That should have counted as like 3 sacks, though.
The safety?
Like the safety.
Well, it did count as 2 points.
A sack and then like 2 points for the safety and then 1 for flipping out of the back of the end zone and becoming a meme. Like, I feel like that should be a 2 at least.
I believe there was a play during the game too where it was like it was a play where they ruled it at first as like a fumble, and then they went back and called it intentional grounding, I think. Yeah. So it was like it would have been 2, but
no, those refs get it right.
It was not, yeah. The Virginia Tech defense gets 4+ tackles for loss.
What was I thinking?
Will, you were the only one who bought it, or no, you were the only one who sold it.
Yeah.
Everyone else bought it, and they were correct, even the fans. Virginia Tech cleared that bar in terms of tackles for loss, finishing with 7.
7, yep.
3 guys had 1.5, including Caleb Woodson, Antoine Powell-Ryland, and Aeneas Peebles. Kyle Monangai, 125+ rushing yards. Chris, you must have like a gripe with the Rutgers staff after this one, man.
I would have been perfect. I mean, this is the one I was most confident in.
Yeah.
And
well, we all thought that he would break a big one, and that never happened.
Yeah. Kyle Monangai did not finish with 125+ rushing yards. 84 net rushing yards on 26 carries, averaged 3.2, only 153 rushing yards for the game for the Scarlet Knights, 60 of which came from backup Samuel Brown. Everyone bought that one. Everyone was wrong. Tech 200+ passing yards was the final prop. Chris, you sold it. I sold it. Will sold it. And Tech did not throw for over 200 yards. Kyron Jones only threw for 137.
It was there.
It was there.
Yeah,
2 deep passes were both there. You hit one of those 2. That's 200 on the dot, pretty much.
Andy blaming the players.
Absolutely, I'll blame the players. Yeah, the throw was there. The pick was right, and they didn't make the throw.
The standings through week 4. The fans lead at 50%. Chris, you are second. You have leapfrogged Andy. You are 45% correct this year. Andy and I are tied for third at 40%. Will, you're fifth at 35%. Gio, 6th. Nick, 7th. Nick, the sad face. Nick has a sad face at graphic on the graphic. He's 25%. Gio's at 30. Sorry, man. Hey, maybe you can get it. Maybe you can get it right this week. All right, let's go to buy or sell for Miami. We'll go through the props and then we'll go around the horn and talk about what everybody has. The first prop is, and we teased this a little bit when we did our picks. Miami wins by 20+. Chris, buy or sell?
Buy.
Buy.
No real explanation there, except I think they're a legit number 7, maybe better, and Don't think Tech's that good.
Andy?
I sold this one, and I don't feel great about it. Do you guys play poker? Anybody play poker here?
Here and there.
Not in a
Okay.
while, but
My weekly poker game guys that listen to this podcast will appreciate that. But you ever been in that hand where like you have an okay hand and the other guy's betting you along and he's kind of stringing you along? You're like, I don't know why I keep calling this. And you get to the very last card and like the hand's out there and they make a bet. It's not like huge to scare you off, but like you're like, I just got to see it. I got to call
Right,
it just
yeah.
to see it. I don't have a great hand, but you've got to show me that you have the king to beat me here. That's kind of what I feel like on this one. Like, all right, I'm going to bet this. I'm going to see if the Hokies have it or not. You got to show me whether you have it or not. And if they don't, I'm very down on the rest of the season. But this is sort of my last ditch. Like, do you have some heart in you? Are you going to play this game tough? I mean, you're 20-point underdogs in this game. Should you be a 20-point underdog against anybody in the ACC? Like, can you show up and even make anything of a game out of this? So that's why I'm selling this one. I guess it's showing a little bit of hope that there's some fight in the Hokies in this one, or that this is a kitchen sink game where they just throw everything at it because their season is kind of at stake here. But I sold it.
he's picked out his hill.
That's right.
Will?
Yeah, so the reason we came up with the number 20 is that's basically the spread on the game. I said in our preview, and I'll repeat it here, that I think Miami's going to get out to a pretty sizable lead and just kind of coast after that, and the Hokies are going to cover. The fans, meanwhile, are buying it. 72% of the fans think Miami will win by 20-plus points.
I think I can typically guess which direction the fans are going on most of the buy sells at this point.
Well, they are in first.
Hate clicking, as you said.
At 50%, not like they're lapping the field here.
I mean, Chris, you I think you line up with the fans for all but one of your picks.
Well, dang it, how am I supposed to pass him?
I sold it. Gio sold it. Nick sold it as well. Yeah, I think Tech's going to cover in this one. Will, I'm coming back to you. Drones 30-plus passing attempts.
I bought it. I'm the only one to buy it. Spoiler alert, everybody else sold it.
I would. That's why I came to you first.
I have no idea what I was thinking on that. I literally don't remember. My thinking is probably that they'll get behind and just start slinging it around. That was probably the logic there.
Chris?
I sold it because I think if they're smart, they will come out with a run-heavy game plan with Drones and Tootin both running it a whole lot. And even if they get behind 3 or 4 touchdowns, just get out of Dodge and get to Stanford without anybody getting hurt. So I don't think they're going to pass it that much this week.
I sold it. I think if he hits 30, it's probably a bad sign for the Hokies, a sign that they're way behind. When I did this buy sell, there was sort of some question about the weather too, about whether it was going to rain. It looks like maybe less of a chance now at this point. So that factored into my thinking, and the weather perhaps is not as bad. So bad decision on my part to factor that into my buy sell, but I did sell this one.
I sold this one as well, as did Nick and Gio. Kyron Drones he had 33 attempts in that first game against Vanderbilt. 21, 26, 27 since.
I remember the logic now. He's averaging 27 or 28 attempts a game so far this season. I think he's more likely, unless they do go run it, he's more likely to throw it more this game.
Averaging 18 and a half, Will. So, yeah, that's a good point. The weather, though, could potentially be a factor. Virginia Tech forces a turnover. Andy, buy or sell?
I bought this one. They're not great at forcing turnovers, but just one. Just need one fumble to be on the ground. Again, I thought maybe it might be wet field that could have factored into it, but I think they can get one. I don't think they're going to go out there and win the turnover battle necessarily, but I think they can get on the board there.
Chris?
I bought it for like no brilliant breakdown here, just a random feeling that they're going to get a turnover.
Chris is a real feel to his buy
maybe
sells here.
Edger and James, maybe he'll come out and
maybe
hand
put it
Virginia
on the
Tech
ground.
one. Will?
I bought it that Tech will force one or more turnovers, and I feel better about that, having gotten the stat from Scott Glessner that Tech hasn't forced a turnover in this series for 3 straight games now.
They're due.
So
Yeah.
they're due.
The fan.
Now, let me do. You got the fans going.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the fans bought it as well. You want to give the percentage there?
68%.
Interesting. I bought it. Nick bought it. Gio did not. Gio's like the hater, and he's not even here.
He's the only one selling.
It pays to hate right now when doing buy sell about this team. It probably is going to be the lucrative side of this whole thing.
Virginia Tech, this is an interesting one. Tech has 3+ plays of 25 or more yards. Chris.
I bought it. I think Tech will. I mean, they've got playmakers on offense. It's not whether they can't generate some big plays here and there. It's can you put drives together and things like that. That's what they haven't been able to do. So I 3 of 25 plus. I'll take that. Yeah.
Andy.
I bought it. I don't have a great reason. I just think that in the course of a game that you hit on a couple of these, and it's bound to happen. So I bought it.
Will?
I bought it with the thinking that it's all consistent in my line of thinking that Miami's going to get a little sloppy as the game goes on. So that I'm pretty sure that's why I bought it. Now, the only people selling it out of all of us are the fans. Mm-hmm. The fans are selling it to the tune of 57%. So it's not a huge sell. It's not so much a hate sell. It's just they may have actually thought about this one.
Nick, Gio, and I all bought it. Tech had. I believe Tech hit that against Vanderbilt and hit that last week, but the 2 games in the middle were very, very, very close. The last one, Miami, 22+ points in the first half. Andy.
I sold this one. Sometimes you kind of got to go against your better judgment and buy sell to try to make up ground. I figured a lot of people were going to buy this one. I only have, I picked the final score 34-20. I think I was the lowest point total for Miami of everybody here. So if I think they're scoring 34 in the game, less than 22.5 isn't outrageous. And, Virginia Tech starts games so well that, that definitely my thinking. But, that 22 in the first half, it feels like Miami's got to come out and it's got to be hitting right away. And, sometimes teams take a while to get going, as Hokies fans see. So I sold this one. I don't feel great about it, but maybe an opportunity to make up some ground here.
Will?
I bought it. I think the Canes will have 22 or more points in the first half. I think in our picks, I came up on the top end. I picked Miami to score 42 points. And again, going with the theme that they're going to kind of slack off towards the end, I think they'll have a lot of points early and fewer points later. So that's my logic there. I don't think they're going to. I hope these aren't famous last words. I don't think Miami's going to roll out there and score 35 points in the first half. I think they'll get 22. I don't think it'll be a crazy number.
Chris, you have Miami scoring 38 for the game. Do you buy or sell this one?
I bought it, and I was a little back and forth because it could be one of those things where what if they don't get off to a good start, but then they blow Tech away in the second half. But then I figured, well, if we're talking about bad starts, it's probably go ahead and bet Miami to have a good one and Virginia Tech to have a bad one. So I went with it. I could see that one going either way, though.
I bought it. Gio bought it. The fans bought it. The only other person who sold it with Andy was Nick.
Oh, great. The guy who's in last place is with me on this one. And, 22 points, that's 4 scores. You got to score more than 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns is a good half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a very good half for Virginia Tech, as we've seen what they're capable of this year. So maybe it's less of a strain to think that Miami could do that. But, I mean, you got to be on point for the entire half to be able to score 22 plus, I think.
And, David, the fans are buying that at a 78% rate, so that does sound a little angry.
Just a tad. All right. Well, anything else to add for buy or sell this week?
Yeah, what's our buy-sell? There will be a sliver of time that we can get to the beach where it won't be rainy or cloudy when we're out there. Because last time down there, it was rained the entire time.
The only time I've stayed in Miami was before the Kansas Orange Bowl.
07 Orange Bowl.
Wasn't it cold?
It was like 45, 50 degrees. They said it was the coldest it had been on South, because Will and I stayed on South Beach. And they were like, it's the coldest it's been on South Beach since the 40s. Or something. And I'm like, well, just our luck. Now we'll probably go out and lose to Kansas, too. Sure
was that the jet ski game?
Yes.
That is the jet ski
that was a
game.
great trip.
Wow, that's disaster all around.
Yep.
Well, I remember going out to a tailgate, and it was cold, and there was a merchandise bus or whatever nearby, and they sold out of sweatshirts like that.
Do you remember going to the ABC store and buying the biggest thing of Captain Morgan I've ever seen in my life?
I remembered the moment I did it, and I may have sort of forgotten it later. I do know
that thing was like that big. I think it was only sold that big in Florida.
There's a picture of me somewhere, with my knee up in the air. I had a little captain in me.
We had a great tailgate. There were llamas at our tailgate. Do you remember that?
I do not remember that.
Yeah, dead serious. There were llamas at our tailgate. It was the only enjoyable part of the trip was the tailgate. Anyway.
You know, it's interesting. I just looked it up. Will, you mentioned the Florida State game.
Yes.
The last time Virginia Tech was a more than 20-point dog was the Florida State game last year. You remember how many points Virginia Tech gave up in the first half last year?
22. Yep. That's
The
also,
buy or sell line
that is correct.
was 22. So that'll do it for this edition of Buy or Sell. We will be back next week. We'll talk to you on the the recap podcast on Monday after the Virginia Tech Miami game. Everybody have a good weekend, and thanks for watching.